is 100 grams of protein enough to build muscle? Understanding how much protein you need to build muscle and if 100 grams is enough really depends on your body size. Now, it also depends on your goals as well. Do you want to be a strength athlete? Do you want to lift weights? Are you going to be casual about your fitness? Are you a runner? All of those questions are very important when it comes back to, is 100 grams of protein enough? So when I speak about the ratio, a lot of it is converted into kilograms. Now, I know some people watching this video probably understand kilograms quite a bit. Some might not necessarily. So in addition to kilos, I'm also going to bring in the topic of pounds just to make it a little bit more relatable for certain populations. So the ratio that people discuss about protein consumption is that you want to have zero point 0.8 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So another way to think about it is you want to have between 0.4 to 1.2 grams of body weight in pounds. So I'm going to keep talking about everything in pounds. And hopefully, if you're someone who's more relatable to kilos, it'll make sense in addition to this information as well. So let's say I am a 200-pound man. I'm not, actually way more. But for someone who weighs 200 pounds, between 0.4 to 1.2, that could very well mean that I want to consume between 80 grams of protein to 240 grams of protein. I had to do the math in my head. So think about that, between 80 grams to 240 grams of protein. That's a huge range. And where I sit with this conversation is the more you are related to strength, the more that you are desired to build your strength, you're more so going to be on this end of the conversation, the 240 grams, versus someone who might be challenging their fitness. They don't do a lot of resistance training. They're just worried about day-to-day functionality. You're probably more on the end of 80 grams of protein per day. Now, is 100 grams enough? We're going to make this relatable based on the average body size of an individual currently to this day. So the CDC, the Center of Disease Control, they have told us in their research that they find that currently the average male weighs about 199 pounds, and the average female weighs about 170 pounds. Earlier, I gave you guys the idea of a 200-pound man, which is close to 199 pounds. Since the average man is about 199 to 200 pounds, my whole ratio of 0.4 to 1.2 gives you that range where 100 is in that range. It's closer to this end. So, it is on the scale of enough protein, but how much protein you need really is based on like your goals with your training and what you're trying to accomplish. So if I told you guys that the upper end of the scale is 240 grams, and that's more for strength athletes, people who do powerlifting, strongman bodybuilding, 100 grams is not going to be enough protein for that person. Really, it really boils down to is what are your goals? So if you're watching this video and you're related to powerlifting technique, you're probably a strength athlete. And I'm here to tell you that 100 grams is probably not enough. Unless you are a smaller athlete in the sport, then maybe arguably 100 grams is enough. But for the general population of lifters and their body weights considered, I do not think 100 grams is enough for those very reasons I spoke about. So on workout days and non-workout days, let's start breaking down those barriers. So we've pretty much concluded that 100 grams is probably not enough for a strength athlete. So let's go ahead and get into the basics of what is enough. Now, on workout days, you want to have more so that 1 to 1.2 scale ratio. So for a 200-pound man, between 1 to 1.2 grams per body weight is going to make the most sense, and for females too. So if you're a 200-pound man, you probably want to have between 200 and 240 grams on a workout day. But then your non-workout day, maybe it's about 0.8 grams per body weight. So 0.8 of, which is 80% essentially, of a 200-pound man is about 160. Maybe 160 grams are on those non-workout days. You still want to have protein. You still want to have high levels of protein. But usually on workout days, you're in this anabolic window where the protein you consume really matters for repair of the micro trauma you have accomplished in training. So on those training days, you want more protein. On those non-training days, I wouldn't say you have to have as much, and it could give your body a break from having to digest all that protein in your body. So workout days versus non-workout days, more on workout days, less on non-workout days. Speaking of protein, what are the types of protein we need? When it comes to strength athletes versus non, it doesn't really matter. All of us need to have good, wholesome protein. And when we talk about protein, one of the biggest deciding factors of protein is the micronutrients inside protein. So I use the micronutrient. Another word we can use is macronutrient. There are 3 macronutrients in nature that gives us calories: carbs, fats, and proteins. Okay. Protein, all right, one of the macronutrients, has tons of micronutrients inside of it. And those are going to be the amino acids, the smallest unit of a protein that we consume. Now, when you guys eat certain proteins, you're either getting a lot of amino acids, which are essential for your diet, or maybe you're getting a lot of aminos that are non-essential because they're just not as important to your diet. Now, listen up. If you want to have the best success with your training, you're probably going to want to ingest animal-based protein. Now, there are athletes out there who are vegan athletes, or maybe they have a vegetarian diet. And I understand that the animal-based protein might not be what works best for you in that case because it goes against your practices. But there are some things happening in the world that maybe help the vegan-based diet improve their protein intake by enriching things with better amino acids. But just in general, based on the research and things we've seen in the past, animal protein seems to be the best. But like I said, there's things that you can do to help with that. You can even ingest extra aminos as well, like branched chain amino acids, BCAAs, and that can help you bridge the gap between finding success with your diet if you can have an animal-based diet or not. We've talked about this 100-gram idea throughout the video. What does 100 grams of protein look like for a certain athlete? It could look like a different diet in a bunch of ways. It could be things like I mentioned before. It could be things like turkey, beans, beef, eggs, Greek yogurt, tuna. You can see a lot of those different things in your diet. But just in general, one of the biggest things about protein is that it's built to help you recover from exercise, the micro trauma that exists with the resistance training. And it's also great because it's harder to digest so that it sustains in your system a lot longer. But with that being said, too, we mentioned it earlier, some people need maybe 200, 240 grams of protein based on their body size. How are we supposed to get all that protein if it's hard to digest it in the first place? I always advocate for animal-based protein first, but there are some other things you can do as well to get that protein base that might not be as hard on your digestive system, like protein powders, whey protein. There's even vegan protein as well. And those proteins are great to consume, especially after a workout, because once you're done working out, you need a quick source of protein to get into your body to start that anabolic process so you're not becoming catabolic in nature. Now, those 2 words, anabolic means grow, catabolic means destroy. Once you've destroyed your body, you could be in a quote unquote catabolic state. But to put yourself back into an anabolic growing state, consuming that protein within 30 minutes after the workout, especially easy digestible supplemental protein, that can help you kickstart your recovery and help you be in a better position to be more successful with your resistance-based training. So protein powders, they range between 20 grams, 25 grams per scoop. I definitely advocate for 1 scoop, maybe 2 scoops after your workout. And if you think about it, 2 scoops is almost 50 grams. So another thing to think about too is protein supplementation is fair. And if you want to know if it's a good protein powder, look at its amino profile. If you buy a protein with a bunch of aminos inside of it, it's going to be probably more expensive, but it's better and more valuable versus a protein that has little to no amino acid profile in it. And it's probably cheaper, probably harder to digest, and it's just probably not a superior product. That's the reason why certain proteins are more expensive or less expensive. It's the ingredient base and also if they have aminos in it. In general, protein is great for recovery, but is 100 grams enough? I would say no for a strength athlete. But for someone who's common and ordinary with their daily functionality, maybe it is enough based on these whole ratios we talked about in this video. So again, take the math, apply it, see if it makes sense for you. My name is Joseph Lucero. I'm with Powerlifting Technique. Please subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. If there's something that you think we said is incorrect, please let us know. We'll address it in the video. We'll talk more about it. We really want you guys to get stronger, better, more capable. And hopefully at the end of this video, you feel that way and that you're ready to take on a higher protein diet to be more successful and to lift tons of more weight. Thanks a bunch, and we'll check you next time.